Hello and welcome to Sudoku Pro. This is a one-star puzzle from today's Hindu. Let's get started. Let's try to fill E row first. You have a 4 here in the central block, which blocks E5. There is a 4 here in the 7th column, which blocks E7. So 4 goes in E3. There are only two missing numbers, 5 and 6. There is a 5 here which blocks here, so E5 takes 5 and E7 takes 6. There is a 1 in first column which blocks these 3 cells, so A2 takes 1. There is a 2 in A row and a 2 in B row, which blocks these 2 cells, so C1 takes 2. Now the missing numbers are 7 and 8, so 7, 8 pair goes here in A1 and B1. In column 7 there are 3 empty cells. The missing numbers are 1, 8 and 9. There is a 1 and 9 in A row here. So A7 takes 8 and rest of the 2 cells C7 and F7 take 1, 9 pair. So this 8 cancels out the 8 here in A1, so A1 becomes 7 and B1 takes 8. Now let's try to fill this second block. There is already 1 and 2 there. The next number is 3. Let's look out for 3. There is a 3 in column 6 and 3 in column 5, which blocks these 2 columns. So 3 goes in one of these 2 cells. There is a 3 in this B row which blocks this cell. So C4 takes 3. Next number is 4. So we have a 4 in B row and a 4 in C row, which blocks these 2 rows. So 4 goes in one of these 2 cells. There is a 4 in column 5 here, which blocks this cell. So A6 takes 4. Now let's look for 5. There is a 5 in C row, which blocks these 2 cells. There is a 5 in column 5, which blocks this cell. So B4 takes 5. There is a 6 in C row here, so which blocks these 2 cells. So A5 takes 6. Now there are only 2 empty cells and the missing numbers are 7 and 8. So let's fill these 2 cells with 7, 8 pair. Now that leaves with only 2 empty cells, and these 2 cells take 1, 9 pair. There is a 9 in G row which cancels out the 9 here, so C8 takes 1 and C7 takes 9. Now let's try to fill this third block. The block already has 1 and 2. The next number is 3. Let's look out for 3. 3 is here in B row, which blocks these 2 cells. That means 3 has to be in one of these cells. Okay, let's go for 4. 4 is here. Let's go for 5. There is a 5 here in the 5th column, which blocks these 2 cells. So and there is a 5 in B row here, which blocks these 2 cells. So 5 has to go here. So that means this cell takes 3. Now the missing numbers are 6 and 7. There is a 7 blocking here. So this 7 blocks here. So B8 takes 7 and B9 takes 6. Let's try to fill this 9th block now. Whenever you have such pattern of numbers, it is very easy to fill this cell. You always have to look into this 6 cells and you have to identify a number which is not there in this 9th block. So here there is a 6 here. This 6 blocks these 2 cells. So automatically this is the only cell where 6 can be. That is I8 takes 6. Now there are only 3 empty cells and the missing numbers are 1, 2 and 8. So 1, 2, 8 goes in these 3 cells. Let's look at numbers across the rows here. There is a 1 here in H row which blocks this cell. So H9 takes 2 or 8. Now there is a 2 here in I row which blocks this cell. So I9 takes 1 or 8. And this cell does not have any number here across, so G9 takes 1 or 2 or 8. Now you have 1, 8, 2, 8 and 1, 2, 8. Whenever you have such pattern of numbers, we call it as a triplet. We call it a triplet. So that means in this entire column or in this entire block, 1, 2, 8 can go only in these 3 cells and it cannot go in any of the other cells. So that leaves this column with 2 empty cells and 2 missing numbers, 3 and 9. Since we do not have any clues of 3 and 9 here, let's mark it with 3, 9 pair. So such pairs and the triplets help us to solve the puzzle very quickly. So in the 8th column, we have only 2 missing numbers, that is 4 and 8. There is a 4 in D row blocking. So D8 takes 8 and F8 takes 4. In the 3rd column, there are only 3 empty cells and the missing numbers are 2, 5 and 8. In D row, there is a 5 and 8 here blocking. So D3 takes 2 and the cells G3 and I3 takes 5, 8 pair. In the 5th block, there are 3 missing numbers, 9, 7 and 8. There is a 9 here in G row which blocks this cell. So I5 is the only cell where 9 can be. And now this cell will take either 7 or 8. So let's fill it with 7, 8 pair. In H row, 4 numbers are missing and the numbers are 2, 7, 8 and 9. Here in the first column you have 2, 7 and 8 blocking. So that blocks this cell. So H1 takes 9. Now the missing numbers are only 2, 7 and 8. Now here there is an 8 in the 2nd column which blocks this cell. So H2 takes 2 or 7. Here in this I row there is a 2 here. So H6 takes 7 or 8. Now in this block, that is 8th block, you have 7 and 7, 8, 7, 8 pair. That means in this block, no other cells can take 7 or 8. Now in this block, there are only 3 missing numbers, that is 1, 4 and 5. There is a 5 in this 4th column which blocks these 2 cells. So 5 goes in G6 and missing numbers are only 1 and 4 and there are only 2 empty cells. So G4 takes 1, 4 and I4 takes 1, 4 pair. Now in this column, in this 4th column, there are only 2 missing numbers, that is 7 and 8. There is a 7 in F row here. So F4 takes 8 and D4 takes 7. Now this 5 in the G row is going to help us in cracking out all the numbers which we have noted down as pairs and triplets. Let's see how. So this 5 cancels out the 5 here in G3. G3 becomes 8. I3 becomes 5. This 8 cancels out the 8 here. So G5 becomes 7. This 8 gets cancelled out. Now H6 becomes 8, and this 8 cancels out the 8 here. So H9 becomes 2, G9 becomes 1, I9 becomes 8, C6 becomes 7, and C5 becomes 8. Now once again here G, there is this 1 cancels out the 1 here, so G4 becomes 4 and I4 becomes 1. Now H2 becomes 7. In G row the only missing number is 2. Now in this block there are only 2 missing numbers, they are 3 and 4. There is a 4 in second column which blocks here, so I2 takes 3 and I1 takes 4. In the sixth column the missing numbers are 1 and 6. There is a 1 blocking here, so F6 takes 6 and D6 takes 1. Now here in second column the missing numbers are 6 and 9. This 6 is blocking here, so F2 takes 9 and D2 takes 6. So this 9 cancels out the 9 here, so F9 becomes 3 and D9 becomes 9. Now in first column the missing numbers are 3 and 5, so there is a 3 here in F row, so F1 takes 5 and D1 takes 3.